And thanks for staying up late with us tonight. I'm Hema Muller. We start with breaking news at the Occupy Denver protest. Another chaotic night as police and protesters clash. Fox 31 Denver has in-depth coverage of this rapidly developing situation. Sarah Morris was with the protesters as they moved through downtown Denver tonight. But we start with Fox 31 Denver's Jim Hooley live at Civic Center Park where the clash started. Jim.
Yeah, hey, man, it looks like this is pretty much wrapping up here at Civic Center Park right now. The number of protesters pretty much has dwindled, only about a handful of people here right now compared to about the 1,000 plus that were here earlier in the evening. All the trouble began here a little while ago, a couple of hours ago, when in fact the protesters had wrapped up a march through downtown and a rally. And throughout the evening, this whole situation here remained very tense and very fluid. The protesters swarmed onto Broadway,
and in the streets we'll run free,
occupying the vital downtown artery.
We're having protest, man, so that way they can't get through.
We're making our stand.
The road was blocked, so police took action to clear the crowd. The standoff moved into Civic Center Park and turned into taunts toward the police.
Police, they look like.
As the sun went down, the crowd headed north, attempting to shut down the intersection of Broadway and Colfax.
There are police here in full riot gear. I have no weapons.
The crowd grew throughout the evening.
That we are showing that we do not let people walk all over us for the rest of our lives.
But not everyone here supported the action.
You know, I pay tax dollars, and it's going towards the overtime of the police. It's going towards the occupation of this entire area.
Just a short time ago, police moved to dismantle a tent set up at Civic Center Park, used for food. The demonstrators called it their kitchen.
We're looking at the relatively small number of individuals that had to be arrested. Again, it's still fluid. We believe the vast majority of those Occupy Denver folks were compliant and moved on. I think it went very well.
Now, a short time ago, the core group of demonstrators from Occupy Denver said they had agreed to disperse for the evening, and they will return here to Civic Center Park at noontime tomorrow. The mayor has said that anyone who occupies this park after 11 o'clock tonight, that is when the curfew will go in place. Anyone who is here after 11 will be arrested. Live in downtown Denver, Jim Hooley, Fox 31, Denver.
And Jim, earlier this evening, we were talking about road closures in the area because there were so many people in the streets. Has that all been cleared tonight?
Yeah, Heyman, you may see Broadway that's right out here over to my left. That roadway was blocked here. That was where some of the protesters were sitting down on the roadway earlier this evening around 7 o'clock. They, of course, have been moved out now. This roadway is open. There are some road closures around this area, but for the most part, things are clearing up right now.
All right, Jim Hooley live in Denver tonight. Thanks very much. As police ordered the protesters to disperse, they moved to various areas throughout the city. Fox 31 Denver's Sarah Morris was with those protesters as they moved to the 16th Street Mall. She continues our in-depth coverage tonight. Sarah.
At around 7:30, Occupy Denver protesters landed here at 16th Street Mall. And as you know, on a Saturday night, this area is buzzing full of restaurant goers, bar hoppers, and families. Add in Occupy Denver protesters, well, you get a wild night. Taking over the 16th Street Mall with drums, signs, and megaphones.
It has been slowly siphoning the wealth of the American people.
Occupy Denver protesters filled the mall streets so much so that at one point we had to jump on a pedicab to get ahead of the group, who says they're marching for a purpose.
I'm out here protesting for the simple fact is we're tired of the Federal Reserve and big corporations taking our money.
As the sea of protesters marched to the mall, Denver police struggled to keep up. Several police cars buzzed down the streets, horns blaring, while bike cops rode alongside the group, even though many made it clear they're angry with Denver police.
We'd like to thank the Colorado Police Department, the Denver Police Department, and all the cops that came out here and acted like a bunch of psychos for drawing all these crowds out.
Many mall goers couldn't help but to stop and watch and take their own videos of the protest as the mob made their way through to Larimer Square.
We are peaceful!
But this chanting didn't convince police officers, many in riot gear, who continued to follow the protesters as they marched through the streets of downtown. And protesters tell me they plan on marching through the streets of downtown all night long. Of course, we'll have to wait and see if that's what really happens. We're live in Denver. Sarah Morris, Fox 31 Denver.
And Sarah, what was really the attitude of people out there? Were they, still taunting the police at that point?
Yeah, they were pretty upset at police, I guess, because they were being kicked out from the Capitol and Civic Center area, that they had to be forced to march out towards 16th Street Mall. So they were very upset with police at that point.
All right, Sarah Morris, live tonight. Thanks very much. And just in the last hour, Denver Mayor Michael Hancock talked about tonight's clash between police and protesters. Here's what he had to say.
We are going to enforce the laws of Denver, Colorado. And again, we will do whatever we can to allow them to exercise their rights to free speech and assemble. But you will do it in a safe manner. We ask that you do it peacefully, of course, keeping everyone safe and being mindful of the fact that we got to keep folks safe. And that we will do on our side to whatever we can to keep you safe, but also to enforce the laws of Denver.
Governor Hickenlooper's office also releasing a statement about tonight's activity saying, quote, "We respect the First Amendment, but we can't condone illegal activity. State troopers and Denver police are showing great restraint in the face of very difficult situations. The governor and senior staff have closely monitored the situation in downtown Denver all day and continue to do so. We urge all protesters to obey the law." Again, that statement coming tonight from Governor Hickenlooper's office. Earlier today, it was a much more peaceful scene as Occupy Denver protesters took to the streets. Now, the concerns of hundreds echoed through Civic Center Park this morning in a rally against corporate greed, corruption, and economic inequality. Remember, that's how this all started. Now, the message would actually inspired some to come out for the first time.
I'm a nurse, and every day I see people come in because they've lost their job, they've lost their insurance, and they're sick. And I'm sick of it.
The haves keep getting more, and the have-nots keep getting less.
Demonstrators took their message to the Federal Reserve Center and several banks today. And the Occupy protests have spread worldwide. Thousands took to the streets in Paris, Tokyo, and Toronto. And even in Rome, protests turned violent as a building went up in flames. Organizers say the protesters have spread to 950 cities around the world. United for global change, massive crowds gathered around the world Saturday for the Occupy Wall Street movement.
We have faced a common struggle all around the world. We're all in this together, and it's so wonderful to see such a global movement of ordinary people standing up, the 99%, fighting for a better world.
In Toronto, thousands of protesters marched in the streets carrying signs with anti-corporate slogans. Demonstrators say they're fed up with financial inequality. They feel the government is ignoring them and banks are gambling their money away. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange marched with protesters in London. Students have joined the movement as well.
I came here for the first day because I felt it's something unprecedented in this country or in the world. It's something very interesting, very exciting. Breaks with the past, it gives people a taste of real democracy.
For the most part, protests have been peaceful, but when the movement spread to Rome, this fiery scene erupted. A building set on fire, burning cars and protesters breaking windows at banks and stores. The protests stem from Occupy Wall Street, which began last month.
We feel that we've realised what angers Americans angers us as well. We're all being made to pay for a crisis that we haven't caused.
Organizers urging everyone to take a stand and demand change for a movement that can't be ignored. Stay with Fox 31 Denver and KDVR.com for in-depth coverage of the Occupy protests here in Denver and across the world. We'll bring you new information as it comes in throughout the night. Arvada police say an astute witness helped lead them to the suspects in 2 Starbucks robberies. The robberies happened last night at